Hello, Nana here, welcome back to Grim Dawn. We are playing with the Ashes of Malmouth expansion as a Purifier Inquisitor. So last episode we wrapped up the Stuck-Up District and the Harbour District quest lines and opened up the waypoint to Crown Hill. And these two NPCs appeared in town, but they didn't have any special functions. I speculated that after going back to the menu and back into the game, they might turn into their specific functions, and indeed they have. So we now have access to an inventor that can both salvage and dismantle things. And over here we have a rare goods vendor who has a bunch of green caster items and, well, maces for sale. Some shields with pretty creepy looks and some codexes. And this tab is the most important one because you can buy crafting things from it. At the moment it's low level things, though Blessed Steel is something that I think actually requires blueprints from a certain faction to make, so it's a little rarer than the other ones. Shards normally have to go on shard hunting quests, and it offers blueprints. Today it's a terror relic and a sacrifice relic, both of which I already know. The blueprints, they vary, they cycle through different variations from time to time. So it is worth, every time you start your game, talk to the guy, buy all the stuff he has, because it might be useful. First though, we got a Forge Master, we got a Quarter Master. And that's mostly just what it is. Now we've got a Smuggler up here, and do we have access to the... Yeah, we have the Illusionist, and next to it is now also a Seer. Yeah, Rena. She was just a regular NPC with a green dot over her head last time we were here. So, just following up on that. Oh, another thing following up. I'm starting up with a lot of follow-up this time. Up until last episode we used the Frigid Barrel of the Relentless North, which has a... It throws things. This one is something we found last episode, and after crafting an extra Hellsbane ammo, putting it in and doing the comparisons, DPS with this one is actually slightly up, but it has an interesting thing. It has 10% chance on attack to cast a Chain Lightning, which has 75% of affecting up to 3 targets, and it does a boatload of lightning damage. Lightning happens to be my most favorite element with this build, because, well, we're doing quite some lightning damage. The dual electrifying weapons auras that come from the Hellsbane ammo definitely help here. And the Chain Lightnings, all the proc attacks actually have a chance of triggering off of it. So with the Chain Lightning you have a chance of proccing the Blackwater Cocktail, for example. And the flame patches from the Ignaffar also have a chance of triggering. So the area of effects, they spread a little bit more, and damage went up. So, all in all, that is pretty decent. Let's see, anything else changed? Yep, we have slightly better boots now. This is mostly an in-place upgrade. We just got more health out of it. Everything else more or less stayed the same. Then we upgraded the belt as well. So this one has 37% elemental damage and, again, more health. And the resistances are a little differently balanced, let's put it that way. The cold dipped a bit, poison dipped a bit. That's also why the poison acid resistance is in here. But across the board, I think it is better for the build. So just boost damage a bit, boost health a little bit, and keep the resistances in a good enough kind of state. Then lastly, shoulders from the stash that I was looking at, they were actually worse than what we have here. The resistances didn't really matter too much, but I would lose about 400 listed DPS, which is now quite significant here, so I did not go for those. But that's it, let's go to Crown Hill and clear out the place a little bit. Oh, of course, with the Word of Renewal we have even more listed damage. So what I do like about this build is that there's a decent chunk of AoE going on, and especially with things like the Chain Lightning, the Blackwater Cocktail. There's a whole bunch of stuff just affecting areas and large groups of enemies. Whereas most of the shots, they are targeting single enemies. Getting slightly better at dealing with larger groups of enemies, even though you still see me withdrawing here. Okay, but you're actually alive, not just dead or undead. Let's take that one out. And then there's the one of the exhaust vents nearby that we need to take out. Can I take this out before it takes me out? Yes, I can. Wonderful. And then the heal has recharged, so we can use it. It's almost become a sport to me to try if I can recover health without using health potions. It's maybe I'm veering a little towards the extreme side there. Trying to maintain the option of using a health flask in a emergency situation, to the point where even in emergency situations I try not to use health flasks to get out of them. That's they're a scarce resource, and especially because they are on a timer. If you use them wrongly, then your option to use the flask is gone. Which don't normally, if you mistime it, you die. Too bad. On the other hand, now if you're gonna play in hardcore at some point, death is not an option. It is a luxury you cannot afford. So then, no timing of all your more scarce resources becomes a bit more important. So these are a bunch of tough buggers. Also, there is a shrine up ahead. I believe that is the last one on normal difficulty. Let's see, how many points are we up to now? 31, so that will make 32. And did I take the effort to grind out the reputation? Looking for the correct button. That one. World map. Yes, there. Did we have a... Oh, still actually have the Desecrated Shrine quest event for the Rovers open. Never realized. Yeah, because we need to get to Honored. And I'm still not there, even though finishing most of the campaign. So, potentially now there are 33 skill points in normal difficulty. Used to be 28 before the expansion, counting the Rover one. I believe I did go to the Bastion of Chaos entrance and some of the other ones that are a little out of the way. Right, let's just put up a circle here, and yes, I have my heal again. I did briefly consider one of the guns that dropped with a little lifesteal. Did briefly consider it, but the damage was quite a bit lower than on the current one. And it also converted to vitality rather than to lightning. A gun that converts to lightning is amazing, because it's just more damage that has... I think we're up to 600% damage boost on lightning now. That's pretty decent. Vitality, we're not doing anything with it, so that's just going to be stock default. Okay. Almost there. Yeah, and we have to heal again. As I said, it has almost become a sport. So, Desecrated Shrine, that's gonna cause some trouble. Let's take a little step backwards here, like that. Okay. The tree is kind of blocking part of the view. Let's take a little step backwards. Okay, oh, not a next wave, but we got a purple. I'm not complaining about that. Grasp of Unchained Might. Hey, I recognize that one. I had this one on my soldier as well. It's almost like there's a limited set of legendaries and you keep recognizing them. So this one has a 33% chance on a critical attack to cast Unchained Fury. 12-second recharge, 5-second duration, so it's about 40% uptime if you crit consistently enough. 125 offensive ability, which is decent. It's basically 10% bonus. And then of course all the percentage bonuses will kick in as well. Reduce yourself by 30 defensive ability, which is not too bad, especially I'm pretty defensively oriented. They can't even crit me. Regular mobs, that is. And a bonus to attack and casting speed. So it's pretty decent. Outside of that, we get some flat physical damage, a percentage bonus to physical and internal and bleeding damage. Bonus to attack and cast speed, that is gonna make me a bit of a berserker. 18% attack speed. Currently you only get 8 from the gloves. And some pierce resistance and entrapment duration reduction. We would lose out on the flame patch though. It's a bit more armor. Damage is gonna side grade, I suspect. Though the 21% pierce to fire damage conversion, I think effectively it is a damage bonus. Because we're getting more damage to... Let's see, pierce currently is 209. Fire is currently nearly 400. Yeah, see, that's effectively doubling the damage received there. So, nice, it's a legendary, but we're not gonna use it. Also it's chosen, bursting rounds. Well, it's half the armor we have, and it's not legendary, so it's not good enough. Sorry. Blue is just not good enough anymore. I say completely spoiled here, of course. It's just it's difficult to beat the armor we have. The obsidian prison thing. It's just really powerful. How it's crowd control, it's damage. And especially in a build like this that doesn't really want to end up tanking everything. No, having crowd control that does damage is pretty decent. It's simply pretty decent. Also, you have healer backup, don't you? Yeah. Right. Also, stop it with the lightning clouds or ether clouds. I would prefer to keep my Spirit Bane ointments for the boss fights, if you don't mind. So... bugger off. Get that ether out of my face. They seem to be listening. Right, there is a vent up there. I suspect the vent is probably going to be on the ground level, so we need to get out of the sky and onto the floor. Also, ooh, look, treasure trove. Oh, not enough dynamite. Did I? I did not bring the dynamite with me. Okay. It's in the storage box, of course. Because I remember, though, chatting with the inventor, it's like, hey, you have 20 dynamite. I was already thinking, like, wait, I have a lot of dynamite on me. But it turns out it was simply stored in the box. So let's grab some of that good stuff. Maybe not all of it. Just take 5. Like that. And might as well just put that one away for me to deal with at a later point in time. Might as well do that here. Like that. Okay, the sword a couple times. And it is all neat and tidy. Back to where we came from. And then we can blow up the box. So, 2 green items. Not too bad. Probably didn't get all the value or all my money's worth, but can't have all. Well, you don't always get a blue or a green or a purple item. Sometimes you have to be happy with green. So, in all fairness, there are really good green items. And though the blues and the purples, they often have something special going on that you can't really get on the greens. But greens, they have their own magic, so to say. Oh, just change the icon here. Now there are effects on green items, especially the monster infrequents, that you cannot get anywhere else, which effectively makes them unique items unto themselves. Okay, a bit of physique and constitution. This is probably one of the least interesting notes. Of course, no physique, it translates to a little bit more health. It translates to a little bit more health regeneration, which is of course one of my favorite statistics. The constitution, the yellowish sheen on your health bar. It helps you regenerate life out of combat. Or inside of combat where you are doing a lot of hitting and running. It's a pretty useful stat in the Crucible, actually. Azar the Wrathful. Because in the Crucible you're doing 10 waves of enemy fights, more or less back to back to back to back. That is a situation that will very much stress your energy management in the build. If your build is energy hungry and doesn't really have a means of regenerating energy, 10 waves of more or less non-stop combat. Oh wait, there's the staircase. Will more or less just stress the energy management of your build to its limits. And the same it goes for health regeneration. If you're not really great at regenerating health, then most of it is gonna come from Constitution. And 10 waves of Crucible are gonna flex those skills quite a bit as well. Okay, let's put down a circle of protection here. Throw some runes in there. Still wonder if now we would be to forgo all the focusing on guns and melee combat and make this into a spellcaster of sorts. And then maybe picking up the runes as additional damage and control sources, because now the runes are very good at crowd control. It's just I'm incredibly thinly stretched in terms of skill points. That's one of the things that you always end up thinly stretched for skill points in this game. There's just too many good skills and not enough skill points to go around. But no, is it the word of anger? Word of pain. No, it's almost it. It's a word of something negative. Oh, as a spell, Flames of Ignaffar, as a kind of a flame breath kind of attack. And then runes for crowd control and damage. Yeah, there's potential build there. But again, no, every class has a couple of skills like that have a potential build that at some point maybe I will end up having a look at. So I suspect the Death Knight project I've been talking about is probably going to occupy most of 2018. Just at least, yeah, it's going to occupy a large part of the year. I realized the Commando build took 102 or 103 episodes to get to Ultimate Loghorien back when the Loghorien was the end boss in the game, no pre-expansion. We now have more content in the game. Wait, actually this takes me further. We have more content in the game, so no, it takes longer to get through all of the content. And I need to be on the ground floor. Of course I do. Though on the other hand, in all fairness, the Retaliation Commando, it was a very, very sturdy build, but it definitely lacked a bit in the damage department, so things maybe took a little longer than they should have. On the other hand, now most of the time, the episodes, I have a certain progression in mind where I want to go in terms of waypoints or quest completions or things like that. And then the episode simply takes as long as it needs to. But it would not be unreasonable to say, to get through the campaign, we will now need, say, 130 or 140 episodes. And of course, Path of Exile is also one of my main games, if not the main game. That is gonna have a couple more expansions, so whenever a new Path of Exile expansion comes out, now that's gonna be a daily thing. And then the Grim Dawn series, I might shift back to like once every 2, once every 3 days. Just try to keep at least like 2 or 3 episodes per week. Well, no, that way, a project that long, it will take time to do a full let's play of. Especially because it is on hardcore, there's no way to really skip anything of it. I will need to display everything while recording. Because death is always lurking, it's always looking for you. And it will find you when you never expect it. Okay, so we do need to be at the doorway there. But I think the walk through the sanctum by itself was also a full episode, so maybe this is just a good point to call it. Now, it's going to be a relatively shorter episode. Crown Hill was the goal for today. So in terms of loot, it was well, relatively quick. Hey, Corinna. Hello. What are you planning? I need to go back to the Iron Dogs. Ah, yes, of course, because we did get our faction up with you. Might as well just do that. No, we actually, I figured it's gonna be a long walk/run. On the other hand, no, we can do it. Just gonna ignore most of the monsters. I say as I instantly start blapping monsters in the face. Okay, there's a little too many here. Right. Well, these bonds things appear a little bit clearish. We can go through, okay, and we can go up here, there. Just a thought occurred, wouldn't it be better to walk back? No, since it is roughly the same distance from both town and the waypoint in Crown Hill. Okay, we go through here, we go through there, and then, yeah, this was the path. But no, just getting a little back to the Death Knight project, and no, expecting it to probably take a year. Now, if you think like 130, 140 episodes, no, every 3 days, that's a year. Which is also why, no, people have been asking for basically every build I have been doing is like, no, are you gonna do the elite and ultimate difficulties with this? And most of the time my answer is simply no, it's not. And especially for builds like the Inquisitor, which is interesting, but not entirely my playstyle. To commit a year to doing a build where I could do 3 or 4 other builds in the same time, that would be quite a bit. No, something like the Drain Essence Death Knight. I've played the Drain Essence on the Necromancer before, and it was really nice to play. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, go through here. I generally like incredibly sturdy builds. Soldier as a base for my hardcore commando was a success. And I think if I'm gonna do a build that's gonna try to do all 3 difficulties, then I think hardcore is a very nice compromise there. Death is death. On the one hand, playing on hardcore, it makes me a little bit more paranoid, a little bit more defensive and cautious, which is very healthy. On the other hand, it also means now that if something were to go wrong with the build, character dies, that's the end of it, and I can do something else. So there's always the option of either voluntarily or involuntarily killing off a build, or especially if something doesn't really prove to be quite as viable as thought, then nature is eventually going to take its course with the build. No, as I said, I did manage to make the commando play through the entire game, including like a 20 or 25 minute fight with the ultimate Logorian. It can be done. Just have to be patient and just build your build sturdy. Death Knight, I know Drain Essence has a lot more power to it. So if you combine that with a soldier base, I'm pretty confident it's gonna be a success. And again, now the expansion, it has a lot more difficult content. I say as I get completely swamped here. Okay, everybody, just be shouted in your face. There you go. But yeah, no, the Drain Essence Death Knight, that's a project that I think is going to be fun to actually just commit the remainder of the year to. Especially now that I have seen all of the, both of the new classes in the game. And figured, the Necromancer simply is more my thing. Hence me doing a lot of the build variations for that one in parallel with leveling the main Necromancer. I really enjoyed that class. Whoop, that's a little too much damage. Oh, stop it with your ether clouds. Oh, monsters. Ah, there's a bubble in there. They simply, they camouflage way too well here. Hey, Flashweaver Heraxis, aren't you the guy from the lighthouse? I think you might be. Ooh, that was way too close. I think I saw my health reach like 120. Yeah. This minigame I've got going of trying to not use health potions, that's where I pushed it to the limits. I did drink a health potion. I think it was the first one in the episode, or the first one in like 5 episodes. Another stick of dynamite, that is always nice. So, the door to the shop, it is still open. Though, of course, we already plundered it, so nothing of value remains. Looks like there... Yeah, it's open here. Yeah, but there's nothing here, unfortunately. Can't go out, can't loot anything. Also currently getting more ether clusters than you can shake a stick at. Current count is up to 8. Effectively, they are 10-second damage shields. Got like 80 or 90% damage reduction from the things. 75% for 8 seconds. That's pretty decent. That's a panic button right there. Because then, incoming damage is reduced. Your health regen can kick in. All kinds of damage mitigation effects can stack on top of it. You're gonna be relatively sturdy afterwards. I'm happy to see that they've become a little more common. Now they drop from the reanimated ether cluster things. And they are common enough. No, they're a little tanky. So it is a bit of a struggle to get them. But afterwards, so this is the entrance to the Blackiron docks, by the way. But downstairs is where the real fighting is gonna be. All we need to do is clear it out, which is good. But yeah, now the ether clusters, they make pretty good panic buttons. So I must admit, I don't think I've used one in like a year. They're one of those things, they used to be so incredibly rare that I never could develop a habit of using them, and therefore I never used them. I'm incredibly bad at using limited resources in games. I'm one of those people that always has all of the special elemental resistance potions and things like that. Either I sell them to the vendors, or I just stock them up to use them for that one special case or that one special situation where I will need it. And then when that situation arises, I never end up using it because I never even realize I had it anymore. That's I don't know, I think it's an aspect of gameplay that either just doesn't suit my personality type, or I need to adopt a different mindset when looking at those items, or it's simply a flawed game design that needs to be fixed by developers. Make limited use potions more common, so you can see them as a resource to be traded rather than something to be hoarded. There's actually some resistance fighters here. That's helpful. Oh no, the Blackiron docks are overrun. And there is where things get truly hairy. Okay, this looks like a little bit of a thorny behemoth. At least I saw something that looked like thorns. And the waves are only gonna get more dangerous. Okay, something like a Flash Weaver sounds like something you don't really want to have on the enemy's backline. So Titans, yep, you get a zappy zap. Also, I'm getting surrounded by large enemies. That's usually not a great thing. Yeah, see, there. Okay, now they're doing a little too many damage. The turtle shield kicked in. Okay, see, my heal was recharged. I did not need to use a potion. And things look mostly under control. That's probably the point where more... Yeah, see, now we're getting the uniques. Good stuff. That almost makes me feel vindicated in not using my potions yet. Okay, that's good. One time for a heal. Let's use the horn. Okay, and that is a good time to get a potion and get out. Now, rule of thumb, if you need to drink a potion, get out. Potions are for escaping, not for fighting. That's something that helps keep me alive. A way of approaching it, a way of thinking about it. Of course, there's more. They did say overrun, and they really mean overrun. Hey, horn. Please do shout. Yes, there you go. Okay, and there's a little too much poison on the floor here. Let's just say, the horn being on auto shout until you use it again, it's actually not a bad thing. Okay, okay, let's drink a potion. And enemies are vanquished. Well, that means the bosses are gone and there's still a couple of minions around, but nobody really cares about the minions. It's all about the bosses. Okay, and I can stop ringing the horn now. So work a log here. Also, what book was this? This is the Empowered Dementia. 100% chance to cast terror. Terrify targets on hit. 3 meter radius, 6 second recharge. And there's no treasure here. So that usually means the gratitude of the people giving you the quest is the treasure. Because they don't really have a lot to go around. The docks belongs to us. Alrighty. So got some reputation and I got 2 ethereal missives, high-end crafting materials, which I personally don't really care too much about. But there's that. So now the harbor has been truly cleansed. We have conquered Crown Hill and we have a way open to the flashworks. So next episode is going to be the last one of this series, where we're going to go into the lair of the boss and face him and hopefully not die there. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.